it kind of looks like they could expand with the preview to film. So this is just like thinking like the canvas, your canvas style. Like if you get a flash, you just
Okay, so just let's start web programming class. In the last class, we tried to use the React to build our first like the template of the programming. But before that, we need to know a little bit about the like what's HTML and what's the SSL. And because I will switch this one, and I would talk about the syntax on the React.js slightly more. So I just skip all those questions. So we should know for the regular website page. So we call the self-contained the individual page, like it's the old website. So we say the website, and then based on what we request, we will send all the web page to different client. Even it's React.js or like we call it dynamic generate when we build a project. When all the client requests a page, we will send a copy. So from the server. So it's like time by time. And every time when we request it in behind, we will connect to the SQL, connect to the database. When we call it's called dynamic web page, it's like every time we will refresh the content, like based on the buttons or like something reaction feedback, then we will refresh the content, then we will update the resources. Let's say the Facebook or other browser. So every time we will pull the update, or like when you scroll down, we will feed you the new content. Okay. Okay. So normally, how do we structure the content, presentation, behavior? So mainly we say for behavior, we're using the JavaScript, and when we for presentation, it's showing we will use the CSS and also some image. And so far for the structure, we use the HTML markup or like the site planning. That's how we work. And we always are working all this together: JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, these three files. And when we use React.js, when we go through the structure, so we have the source file, you will see the app.js, and or we create other file. It's still the file form is still called the JSX, like with the XML. So when we do it in development, because all the file mainly they are, or we have specific file called the CSS, but you barely will see there's no file called HTML. But for building a static web page, you'll see the HTML file, but only when we run the building function, then they will export all the function we have to generate all dynamic page. Based on the AngularJS, Vue.js, or the React.js we are using. So mainly you will see will be these two files. Yeah, and even the JS file, it changed a little bit. If long time ago, you see they're all script file, so they handle all the functions. So for like some effect, but right now, the JS file also handle the content. So we call it components in the file. So here's a slightly different. Hypertext. Mainly when we build the HTML, so everything comes with the tag. So we can still tag. Start with the HTML header, body, or the we say some header H1 to H5, H6 will be different size. And also we have other like with some P is the paragraph. So we have different type of tag. So right here, so you can see all the structures. The line break will be right here, H1 to H6. And then we have the list. You won't be able to remember all these things, but when we need it, I always recommend if you know W3 School or refer, yeah, if you know, then we can go to search it and looking for those anything we need, no matter the Node.js or if you search JavaScript or the CSS. If you want to change the inline style, then how can we change it? Or if I need to create a new CSS file, then how can I do that? So all these. But in the class, we just like tell you how can we cover those things. And then another one inside the tag, we have called the attributes. So this one, so we give a name and then have a value to provide to the attributes. So we skip right here. If you're interested about a question, then you can answer it. So cover. And then when we go to the cascaded style sheet, so it's called the CSS. So it's the presentation. So what you see, the UI shows up. Those, like when we have the structure, it's like body, div, and then here's the list. So you can see a dot. So we can define. So even for a list, then we can define the color, background color, or like have a background image. Maybe we have a padding. Everything will be defined right here. Okay. And if we know we have the different CSS rules, so we have the global style, and then we have the in page, also inline. So which one is the next will be override the global one. So it's the rules. So we can set the property. We have the selector, and then we have a property, and then give it a value. So this one is a structure of the CSS. And here's one of the example. So right here, selector will be the body, and then we give the font family. So we change it, or like we change the color right here. The color we can put common color, it can be red, blue, black. We can still use the text to do it. If no, then we need to use the number right here. It's a hex. It's a hex number. So if you don't know which color, or if you want to search, you can just like Google it or change it, and then, or you can check it, use your website inspector to check it. So for the CSS syntax, we will see, we cover the selector and then declaration block. So thus they point to the HTML element. Sometimes we need to create our own, we add the attribute. So we can edit with our own, provide a name and value to change it. This has sometimes we will give an ID or using a class. So we have two types to get our selector. So right here, when we go here will be the ID. So if we give an ID, then we can use the content select and then point to the ID, get ID. Then we can use the ID we define. Because some in the project, or like after you start to work, maybe you need to change the style. So once you need change, you can use ID to do that. For specific tag, then you can use ID. Or if you want to change certain class, so you can use the class to do it. So either way will be fine. So right here, CSS, and then you can add the class of the decoration. Okay. So then you ask, okay, if I have two options, I can use ID or class, then which one can be used? Because when we assign the ID, so for that specific tag, we only have one ID. If we have a form like input, like username and then the password, so we will provide the ID and the password for it, and so we can specifically like access to it. But if we have a certain, if we declare the class, maybe I want to declare called a button class. So I will make sure all the button I use will be same style, that I don't have to like change it regularly. So once I change this class, all the buttons will change the style, maybe the font size, the color, or some add the shadow. So all this. So depends on like which way or like what do you want to do. Then you can choose using ID or class. Okay, so we'll be right here in the.
Just like ID references one specific
It's like,
element.
yes,
The class
element.
could be, if you have a class of buttons, then you would change all of the buttons.
Yes, yeah. So apply to all. So like when you so you can use, one is called use the ID and then class too. So for the class, when you edit right here, if you can put the image like ID right here and also the class together, so they apply it. So depends on override. So if you execute the function after the ID, so sometimes like they will load the class first. like get the setting like CSS first. So when you try to get the ID and then change the style, so it will change, but it only change that specific one. So let's say if you have a multiple buttons, like in all your pages, so you make the same style, let's say blue in color, but only for one is like called purchase button. You don't, if you want to let the user say once they click it, or like they call the put the mouse on it, that will change color automatically. Then you only specific for that one, then you can assign ID to it. So when you change it, say get ID purchase button like this, called the get the ID, then you can change it. So depends on your purpose, then you can change it. Okay.
So that the ID will have precedence over.
Yeah. Actually, they have some properties under it, so you can use it. Just need it in this moment, and then when we work on more like practical things, then you would know how to access those. Okay. And quickly go through all these, like for the question, if you're interested, you can look at it. When you work on it, then you can answer all these questions. So it's right here. So quickly cover it, and we will move on to the React.js. So I'll let you know. So last time I already introduced like is the components virtual DOM. So we basically also because we have a strong community. So because it's the one of the popular we call the framework using for the website development. If you're looking for a job, so suppose they are like some they require for AngularJS, some of them they're asking for React.js, and another one called the Vue.js, Vue.js. Yeah. So they are the one of the three popular framework using in Node.js for build a website. So if looking for job, they will request you either one of the language. Okay. But they are similar. So once you learn one of it, then you are easy to pick up others. So right here. So inside we have called the components, state, prompts, and lifecycle method. So that's what we are going to use in here in our project. So in the React, we always build the components in called a functional. So most of the time we will get the function and return the value. So the structure, and we when are using the called the ES6, so it's a new version standard for the class with more we'll go through it. So if we look at the JavaScript XML, so we will declare the element in this way. So you see the constant and then give an element. So we will assign an element like this, hello world. So we are not, when we are building the website, you are no longer to see the whole structure of the website. You only can like a part of it. So maybe you already preset the header. So you will just record it using a tag. When you declare the element called the hello world, you can just put this element in any page. Then you don't have to rewrite this part anymore. Just like kind of like put this variable in your function. So when you look at it, when I pass the value, so this we sometimes you can treat it as a parameter. So we pass the parameter. If we have a function called welcome and pass the value in, and then we will return the tag hello and then give the name. So we will get the pop's name. So if we have the tab welcome, get the name. So we will pass the name to here. So this one will be replaced to hello world and then with the name. And it's generated pretty dynamically. Yeah. So when you build it, you never see, okay, how exactly is the output. So when you build it, you need to look at the website, go to localhost 3000, or when you really deploy, apply on the website, you will see the result. But when you're working, you're only able to see this part. Okay. So you need to have a clear image, like how do you build it? And then you need to think about, okay, this block is built by this function, or like I will break up the structure of the website into different functions they will generate. Or sometimes you think, okay, I will build a function to create a list or a table that I can reuse in other page. Okay. And the pops and the state, when we need to use a user stage, then we need to call it from the VAD. So it's the default library we can use. Here you will see here's one of the example. We are using state, but if you go to the website, some like online documents, some will give you they are not using state. We're using a global variable and change it. You can choose your own style. They have pros and cons, or like depends on your habit. One that's not really common using it, but it's one of the example. So when they try to build a counter, so it's the div. So we have a tag. So when you click, the counter here is the variable. So it will set like count and set count. So count is the value is stored, and set count is the function. Or like we will set another function to update the global variable. So we will use another, when they click, they will call it. So we'll talk another function. So you can do it in this way or another method. Later, I will show you how to do it. So when the button on click, we'll call the function set count, and then we'll add the value. So this count value will be automatically increased by 1. And it will update. So here's the function right here. And the life cycle we will use a lot. Mounting, updating, unmounting. And the life cycle is hooked in the functional components using use effect. So we need to use call the library use effect from the VAD when we call it. Okay, so let's say mounting is when we load the page. Then we need to preload some certain content. Then we need to do it in mounting. Or when we unmount them, unload them, we need to remove certain content maybe. So if you maybe have a problem when you implement or like writing a web page, you say, when I try to load some certain data, but the page is already show up, but it's empty. But I check the console log, I'm able to get the data from the API server. Then why? Because you didn't do it in the maybe mounting or updating. Because we need to detect, or before the page loads, we need to wait, we get the data. Let's say if we are waiting online shop, loading the products from the server, but because it takes sometimes maybe, let's say 1 second to load the data, like we need to get the image and then some product information. Before we get the product information, we shouldn't like redirect to the page, or like we need to wait until we receive it. Then we can show all those like product image or like create product list like this. So you need to do it in the mountains. Right here, and then when we say handle event, is we call the function, and then we have the button on click, then we can call the handle click, and this function will do it. So this one is the alert, so it pops out. And another method is like when you use on click to update the value right here in the function, access the pops. So we, instead of doing in on using the use state, we will set a global variable, let's say called count. So we can access it or from the pops. And then we update it. We are not on click, we are not use set count, but we are using the function to update. So just like our other function like Python or JavaScript to access the variables to update it. And another one, we will use the called the list and key. When we get the JSON file, we will have an array or list, and then we will call the function called mapping. So the maps, so we will get the variable. Let's say here is called the numbers. From the numbers, we will get the first value, just the number. So number we have to string is, if it's a number we want to show as a key, then we need to change to a string is a function. And then we'll list it. So the key is of the collection is the text, and then the number itself and fit to it. So it will list the items 1, 2, 3, 4 with the key. And another one is the form. So form, this one using the state, or you can use a function to update the value. So right here, like set value, handle change, then we have the event. So the event is somebody check on it, then we can detect the event, then based on the event we get, then maybe we can submit it to the server. So sometimes we have an event and we will call a function and then connect to the API server with a request. Right here for the state management library, we have three. Reduce is the one we use like pretty common where you see it. And React hook is a function that let you use stage or other React features without writing a class. So you can using stage, use effect, and using use context. So they are pretty common. Use effect still using popular, but when now use stage is not common at all. But you need to know it. But some developer they are choose to use a function to update the value, like implement by yourself. Sometimes you're not only say, okay, +1 or like set the event, but you want to change something, you need to do something more. And if we need to know more detail, like more advanced, like the server-side rendering or static site generation and code splitting, so we need to work on more, then we will touch this part. And quickly go through all those basic things, then I can give you the time to practice and doing it. Okay. If you go to my Leo right here content, I should, oops, right. You will see I upload a certain sample. Suppose this one is called the, so I think I didn't really put the name, but if you see the week 4 two files, one is the JS file. You can download this too, week 4.4. One is the JS file, one is the CSS file. If you still remember, I will let you to try the how to create a React project. If you have it, you can modify your old one. If no, I would recommend just start a new one, like delete the old one and then create a new one. So how can you create a new one? And we will start to work based on these two example file. So we place it, and so one is the JS. So what do we need to do is like replace the app.js and then replace the app.css, these two files. Okay, and then let's see if you can build a page. And let me, I think I may have it. Okay. Okay. So if you are able to copy the source code, actually create a project, copy the source code, you should able to see the page like this. So you have the two buttons, increase the number, it changed in the middle. So just copy and paste, pretty easy. Yes. Cool. First you need to create a project. So create a new project. I recommend. You can use the old one. Yes, sure. If you want to create a new one, yes, you're welcome to do that. If no, you can replace the old one. Mainly just change, just let you to experience how to change the original file. Just remove the first. Yeah. Okay. Without the guideline, if you have the problem, I will help you to go through once again. It depends how much you can remember. If no, I will help you. Problem? Okay, so you already downloaded the okay, so do you last time you create a so you can use that project again, or you can create let's say you create you never was first figure out how to because that's what I know, that's what I don't know. Oh, okay, so then I can go through it. Okay. Let's see what time we get. Right now you're under week 4. Let's say you want to start. So You may.
So I did like partial, so I don't know if it's.
So the syntax is like.
You would do CD and then everything, which was just like.
We.
In PowerShell. CD. And start. And that's what I did.
And they pick up the.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
Yeah.
I used to have a coworker who's really good at PowerPoint. He got automated like a lot of stuff, like for his job, hyper automating, like, laptops, stuff like that. That's how you PowerPoint.
No, first one is CD.
After you create, you can, put in your JS file, JS file, that's why you use this, JS file to the, create a folder, m.js.
Is
there another subfolder right here? We place to the. Okay, so after you paste them, and because once you are one thing that serve, you will see the page.
Yeah.
Okay, and after you place it, then I will, go through all the contours. No, you don't have to rename it, because when you create a project, it should be all the files under here. The one that we open, we have not yet.
Yeah, I got it.
We done it, so, yeah.
I think
So they do all this. Actually, I think it's about that. Also, yeah. But here's the basic. I give you the.
And then.
And that's. Okay. Yeah, and I just want you to learn what the color is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, otherwise.
And you open it from the file?
Yeah.
I think I'm literally.
Are you waiting?
Yeah.
Okay.
My.
So, are you able to create a project and copy it?
Are we? This is the project, right?
Okay, this one, yes. So you download the JS and then also the CSS. Okay.
So let's copy and paste this file into like the folder for the project.
Replace the original app.js and app.css. And then after you replace it, you will get like, yeah, I need to change the file name. Okay, you. So because you already have a project, so what you need to do, just copy the. Copy, so I know if you are CSS, then you can copy all this, place on the app.css. And then the address, CSS, copy the. Yeah, so we place it, suppose you are able to see this page. Okay, so are you all able to get this page? Yeah.
So now, so I. Okay, so.
You are using.
You done with these? Placing files.
That's what I was doing.
I'm gonna wait for the file.
We need to show that.
Yeah, you do the first part. and do You do your PowerShell first. Then you have to install it.
Because you are able to install it, so this should, and then you like a PowerShell.
Yes.
Go back to.
Next slide.
If you take the file, that's exactly the one we downloaded.
Everything you do.
Like you have webpage, yeah.
Once you do one with one,
You know what? You didn't change this.
the search button. Some people don't have it. You haven't.
Install the NPM, okay, and check the link. Yeah.
So that's just the.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the Node and the NPM can install separately. So, if you want to fix it, either you can install the full again, or install the NPM again, but you can install the Node.js. So did you install the NPM? Okay, okay, you can try.
Yeah, 'cause I was trying to do the configurator, but it just didn't. It's working.
Yeah. Yeah, but it depends on your, for you, it works. You are really highly rely on the Node.js, it's like better to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be.
They're like a specialized.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
It started
literally
That is
Yeah,
how you
so,
start.
and it just says, so we.
Yes,
Yeah,
I had some weird.
Yeah.
We should touch screen, like we could do this.
So like create a new.
So, it's okay, so we're gonna have no,
The problem we have is.
to show the I think.
Yeah, there's- yeah,
That's what he would like. So you just like, well, checking the source, so he looks at it and now.
So it's not recognizing their share.
Yeah.
Full C.
Now, if it back out of that directory. So like CD home.
No, you use CD to the first one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this ID provided last time.
On Sunday. That.
It's like this.
Yes, CD
Yeah,
back.
they would
slash
only like,
or the one before it was.
Yeah.
So far they are convenience, helping you.
I'm showing you what you changed, so we can see what we're, okay. that
Yeah,
makes sense.
so here's the reason
Yeah,
why
you
we
install Node.js.
So,
You command,
I guess they help us to,
here's the command you need to install on Node.js.
we sometimes put a real time compiling or runtime compiling.
Yes.
So like, specify if you know to.
Mhm.
See what, yeah. So, actually for the ID, like to help us do as well, okay, if you. Sometimes it pops out if you use certain variable, you never use, they will do something. Yellow color, so okay, you have to do it. To be like, yeah, you cannot remove it. You are going to create a variable that it will occupy and then.
Yeah.
So you can see. Yeah, you better to do it. So somehow
I don't know
it's
how-
all this like, I think you have to show.
You had to download it.
Or,
Yeah, you try to.
I got that, so. I went back away.
So they, so you like which to catch that contact. So right here, so they have a page. Local, we mostly change the value, we add some, add new state. And we will be the multiplayer, update.
Use their terminal.
Modify the
Yeah, I
value
did.
that we have.
It says that we want to go back.
Yeah, you can, put it, so. Because this one, because you link with it, so that's which.
Yeah, I haven't seen the lines, but these are. No one.
It's a good environment, so are you able to get to the web page? Okay.
I literally can't
the stuff I connected to 2 days ago. This one, so
It's not recognizing as NPS anymore.
I don't.
Okay, sometimes when you install it doesn't link to your, back. So it's like called a permanent, that means like you cannot call that anymore. Yeah, I don't think they'll- no, okay, if you, when you create a directory, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I pull it up in VS Code and look at it. Look, that's actually really well found in there. Instead of the file, but there's nothing that visualizes it.
And we just went over about nine S. We have a database.
Not found. I don't understand if I'm just something wrong or if my computer.
So what the problem?
Yeah, your computer.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
You're expensive. I should have kept my little crappy Surface Pro. All right, it didn't work either, and I didn't have to spend any more money.
I know, but every day you get it.
Yeah.
You know, the reason I'm not doing this, because I paid so much for it. Otherwise, I would probably have probably for that. Every class.
How about the?
Okay. All this stuff works. I think it's Tuesday.
We don't know if we should re-download Node.js. again.
I will recommend, yeah.
Which we did. That was actually what, yeah. Literally. And that's what he looked up to try, one was ran it and found Node.js. I don't know that it's gonna work. So I did that after failing a whole bunch and then went through it still.
Not the smallest, but my school had like my school had very low.
That was.
Graduation. You know, like, these people are.
It's more like, there's just like,
Yeah.
a small dying animal in here, making its final noises.
So it's like, on the trade classes, or if you pick this class, I need the first group, you get started on.
Oh, my gosh.
They're just like, man, none of you guys are going to college. So these are something for the options now. So these good jobs.
I don't guess it counts for anything. I bought this computer specifically because I was having problems with the old one.
Sometimes that's setting. Usually able. No. Done. Fixed. Yes.
Oh, is that what I'm supposed to see? What did you do to make it?
Not just reinstall it, so for the old, say it, for the.
Yeah, it's not only time I password for it.
Go to the Node.js website. Same thing.
Okay, always go to the official store and then get, okay.
So which of these commands will you actually?
So this one, they are all of them.
You ran all of them?
Oh, yeah, okay, because my first one, try to install the FMN
And
and then try to set the environment and then use the FMN to install, yeah. Yeah. To set like download the Node.js, so you will check the version and yes, so you should get all the version. So once you install all that, this one is really depends on the Windows again.
Again.
Coming. It's pretty quick, less than 1 minute done. So before you start the project, if you press over, okay, localhost.
Yes,
Okay.
okay, and pull that up and make sure it does its.
Okay, so, if you're ready to get this page, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, question.
You're here.
It might take a second.
So, okay, so you have.
Because those are probably. They're just like.
And you just like look around, you know, and all this stuff, it's like.
So I have the website. My question was this one. I took a lot of things. Like the.
So it's supposed to be an incremented echo button.
What's happening? Actually, the number.
I don't know if I do and be able to start.
You may need
Luckily, that stuff I've done that. It's pretty good.
you feel me, okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, so if you use the then you are. Okay, so right.
You built the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like, it's like background, it's Wi-Fi. I think that's.
So you see this is sort of public. This is the counter, right?
I have all of the comments installed.
My drawing.
I changed the one. Yeah.
So then we give you the. Suppose for the balance, we get
Is that why, whenever I saw this one?
Yes, yeah, it's like first thing is like we don't handle, here is the technical because, okay, suppose you are, if you can, where, in the first time.
I'm like, oh, no.
And, okay, so you're, just like this one, I just give, for some study.
Every time I do this, I'm
Yeah.
still need a little bit of
I need to change the circuit and change the direction, and I upload the. I upload the image. Yeah. And I just.
I think all the like. Ran for a second, I think.
Oh, the Vim file.
Yeah.
Alright, so once that's all, I want to get back to me.
So,
You go back.
Remember what, you would go back on all
But it was-
oh, yeah, I know.
You like copy that, like copy that tag. And you're like, it is next.
The boy actually went right, like, insight. Engine, like,
Oh, the engine,
yeah, because what's all the.
Engine input.
So if you.
Okay, but.
And I think, I don't want to speak anymore. You say, can I?
Like, I don't-
Yes, okay. But when you fill the link below it, it will give you the configuration of the.
Oh, maybe.
So we don't see it.
Whenever I.
Change the engine.
Just like my public document, I get my hello world.
To take all the things, to take all this. So let's say.
I get the,
right now,
I get paid nothing.
And here's the.
Just the word, top left corner.
So.
So
let's
that's
say,
like-
small also, you can SA, yeah.
Like, I went through.
Yes, but for here, but I, in the lecture, there will be using XRP. And I don't think that if, right now, we only have the XRP.
We'll figure it.
So we and the hyperkey get the related, say, okay.
I feel like we use the.
If you don't put the key, you will get a, okay. So, if you create a double, it's okay. If you have created nested without previous, you need to get. So what you create and you need to develop file header and collaborate on the CSCI. And then. You just. And if we have. Right. Here, for the user.
And that's in the way.
And. After you create the folder.
No information.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Michael likes to, that he created a pitbull and the sheep. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, fine. Sometimes we put say, so they're not allowed to break.
And this is.
So create the folders and then because you have the if you didn't create a folder and you know the configuration, the activity can check, okay. You can like folder. So in.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Okay, so when you create the folder, then you can start to and then change it and here is the specific tracking, you already changed it. And so sometimes I will implement all these like instruction.
Yes.
Because it's not for like yeah, so yeah, and or like you can and then yeah, so what you need to do is like raise the key actually. That's how I say yeah, right here and they have like right here and then
So
yeah, it's
Windows.
yeah, Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
And once it's ready,
Yeah, it's like very much so much.
so it will be maybe after today. So you need to be for file.
Yeah, I got one of that.
Yeah, it's right. So any names is in there, and then you paste all this again. If you follow the if you want you can like nano. You can change this one. So sometimes so you can just like put anything and then paste the content like and you paste it usually all the links the short file right here from available to that is how that is used. Which one do you use? So anyway, the file and it's completely downloaded. So we need to do the file so right here say they use to link or you can just yeah, so you can so you
Yeah, that's.
and I think one more for that world is the key right here. So you can change the text. So like if you like say successful, we will see that means like all right. Yeah. It's like nice sometimes we make some mistakes.
Oh, it works, like you're a techno vendor.
I think I just.
I didn't know, but I always, it works.
Yeah, somehow the file got.
Yeah, I have like
some function
like protocol security in this.
we started by the reaction and the engine that was called we know it's going to be just all the configuration files again.
Somehow
We start because when you restart initially
Yeah, it's fine. We'll figure it out.
actually no one
I leave that movie.
So if I get there.
That was the worst.
yeah, if you I say first, if you get that correct, then we know. If it's wrong, so we know that means that the entry is to grab the new sentence. But if you didn't fix it, try not to be when we go the file and call it. Yeah, because you have when you know it, you can access the file. So before you know,
Like, the thing is, it's cheesy, but it's more entertaining than safety.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like I swear the last one, maybe sewing, it was like a quarter nostalgia. Getting stuff. Remember this character?
I remember.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's the thing that explodes and see what.
In the movie, it sounded like.
That mentioned that it was getting snow, that it wasn't going to be.
Oh, okay, I see. You can fix it. Okay. Yeah. And
Trying to see if I
Quick
can-
question, after class, I'm having a hard time installing PowerShell on the Mac. I've been following along, just like now, I'm like, okay, I'm actually doing it, but like, I can't do the assignment and what we're doing right now. So I install PowerShell, but for some reason, I can't get it to work. We've all looked at it, no one has a Mac, so if there's a few minutes, like, I don't know, if not today, office
not
hours.
sure. I will. Oh, why are you using PowerShell?
Yeah. What everyone's saying. I'm just speculating, what it's giving me the right time to install PowerShell.
So you can click on that. Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay. Okay. Things are taking for some time. You are waiting for it, and when you look at the source code, you should able to get a page like this. And then when you click on the button, increments, you add the numbers, and then decrements. Then you will decrease the number, and that's a very simple page. And when you look at the tab, when I quickly go through the PowerPoint, the slides, so we use the stage, right? The stage, we have a count and set count. The count and set count is, yeah. The count will save the number, and set count is more like it's a function, so we can call it. We have two function to handle it called the handler. So when we click on the button increment, then we will increase the number by 1. So we will call the function second. So the second is calling the use state. Okay. And then decrement also will call the same, but it minus by 1. And when you see on click, we will call the function. So with the bracket, curly bracket, and then call the function decrement and then increment. So here's the function we are using, and we will call the get the class name count and then the variable. So the variable we preset when we decay, it should be 0. So once you click like increase, decrease, it goes down. So have you tried to decrease? It goes down to negative. Okay. So if we need to modify, let's say, I don't want to let it go down below 0. Then how can we change it? Like based on this one. Okay, so here's the question. I will give you some time to edit this part. And when we look at the app.css, so in the file, we will import to React is the basic the library we are using, and then using use state, and then we use the call the app.css. So everything we are calling by components and function. So in the app right here, we see the app logo is by default. So the app header, and then what do we create? It's called the dot count, and also button and button and over. So we are like putting over it. So when we put it over it, the color change. And because we're using a VS Code, the IDE, actually it shows up all the colors, so you can put it and then change it by any numbers. So you can modify the color if you want. You can change the color. So right here we have like the display effects, and with the align by items in the center, and then we set the gap is 10 pixel. So here's the CSS. If we do it like in inline text, maybe I will add the style. That's like this, then I can change it. So the global is have lower priority than inline. So if I modify the inline style, then we will override it. And sometime for inspect. Let me go to the page. Okay, let's say sometimes I want to like check the real time content. So right here, the buttons, all the colors. If I want to modify the color to another one, I click on it, so I can change it. So here belongs the cars. But when you reload the page, it will go back to normal because the Chrome inspector, you can like change it real time to see the effect. How does it look like? Then you can modify your source code. So as a
Using CNN, that some text. Some of the live websites you can go on.
yeah.
You literally just change the text and send it to people, and like.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, so it's changed. Yes, you get. Okay, yeah. Okay, so here's an example. I will give you some time to modify to ask you as a kind of exercise. But before we go, I just post the assignment on the website, so you will see the assignment. So actually, I also give you the template. So it's asks you to input the like create a form and then input your name. So that template is the first try not to copy the code. If you really like, it kind of like helping you to if you cannot really make the form or submit it, then you can refer to that one. So, but that one's the basic. So after you create the page and load it, I wish you can like based on the form add more information, like get more like input and show the content. Like that means that you need to create more variables, and but it's like flexible. So you would decide. So I wish like I'm expecting like all your submission, your page will look different than the basic one, the original I gave you the source code. Okay, so you can try to execute and see and then modify. If you have any question, you can ask me. I think I give you almost like 2 weeks. So you have plenty of time to modify and change it. Yeah. And just remember, make a screenshot and submit the app.js and app.css. So you can change the color, line, fonts, anything, change it. Or like after you show the result, or you can make a table, make a list, anything. Yeah. Always like try to study by yourself, because I will provide some information or like give you some guideline. But if you want to like improve the skills or all these things, always look up online and get more information. Okay. And right here, we using can. So I give you a question. I don't want to let the use like it looks so weird, like go down to negative. So I want to stop by 0. So when the user like click on 1 and then 0, don't let it go down below 0. How can you modify the source code? So I give you some time and work on it. And change the use state and or change the function study. So I will help you in the class. Do you need help? Okay, it's right here. Okay, good. But I feel it's slightly loose. When you pull it, I think it should. But when I put, I don't think it's going. Oh, you push it.
Because it was, when it was cold, I think we had like turned it, say we did this, we turned it a lot. Somewhere in there, it got
To
heat.
say, okay,
So
okay.
when it tried to roll back in.
It's
it
just
stuck.
okay, got you. So any directions or idea if I don't want to let the user click on the button and increase it down by 0. Okay. Yes.
Because I've heard people say. When I'm out of that, when I'm out here. I can't remember the name.
It makes y'all feel better, I think.
Lots better. So there's a, yeah, but this.
What is it?
There's a little taqueria in Bryan, I've been to racing in there. And it's like next to the pool hall and and you go inside and it's a convenience store.
That's more like experience. Before you start a project.
You got it?
Yeah, that's it.
And they come in before. By routing, and we direct to different place. Yeah. Also, how to connect to that. The monthly API connect to that. So, yeah, because here, for example, once you input a form, so just think, how can you say the 3%? Yeah, one is local. Then how can you say to your EC?
Like taqueria, you go in and it's like a convenience store, like you go in the back and I can't sell something.
And then something
Also.
what can you say? So we need to.
They have like a little like big lid and then a glass area. It was like a carniceria and they had like types of dough. Stuff, and they had to bring someone else out.
So
My first time was
And they have to bring someone else.
yes, and very good, like we did like not sex max.
Well, first we
There's
can.
the best now. That's not.
So we're able to combine and then.
Like choosing. But it's like you save it better than like cheese it. Like you save it. Control what it's doing.
Are you the assignment or the thing that with this bill is doing?
No, just like it's too much fun.
That's only for a day.
Yeah, they're just doing it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my issue. See, when you open. You should do this job. That's different. You know, it's like if, which JavaScript, no. Yeah. We do any different. But the only. We do if, for instance,
I'm saying.
it'd be not the parentheses.
I made it do something.
And that's what happens.
Like, it wasn't right. That's like fixing one thing in your code. Yeah, it's fixed in 15 years. Oh, it's not like we fixed.
Just like open the sequence. Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. Stop IT, there's something.
Yeah,
At least.
that's what I'm gonna do. Like IT, like especially the help desk, like, you know, so you can get students into one side.
That's why I'm doing too.
My kid. My John, John's IT related, but like, yeah, I'm not, I technically IT and security.
Yeah, that looks good. Not just like.
Yeah, that's like, you're the systems administrator.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be certain.
So this will run in the process.
This counts the council.
So if you make it, and you cannot
Use it.
like this. So, it's a problem because.
I mean,
Posting the local.
Yeah.
I'm with this and can you?
When we access from the. The local votes from here. So they're not go like trade.
Greater than zero.
If you want to access.
So. Arrow from. So, they're the one that let it go below zero.
That's what it is, then you can.
That we want to create a different zero. Because right now, I'm on the path.
Okay,
That thing in the middle is greater than zero.
I was thinking if the,
Then it can go change.
I was like, when is that? I can sell it.
Okay, so actually, if you install. So you can. Let's say
This is.
Necessarily figure out what to do.
This is all you have to do. With the name statement, it's right.
Yeah.
You can create an infrastructure statement.
It doesn't, you know that, right? It says. I'm trying to find out. What this, the document. What is it? What is it? This is what I'm talking
Doing the like. And then. So you can actually use it.
See, that's why I was having issues.
And you can add.
It's like, it feels like different. So. This is constant. This should.
It's not.
Yeah, there we go. We did. Okay. Right there.
You want to.
The C will not function.
Yeah. The way, like the second.
If for the every unit, that's like company.
You're saying that this is.
And when we go the app, the way we run with it too far. So what we do and that
if you put the.
Make this function.
so we just. So why not I ask you, could you make all that, why not when we, like first time, decrease and control the negative? I said, I want to let it stop at 0. So how can you work? Anybody able to? You're working on that side. For the exercise I showed you, like, because it can go start with under zero, so I want to start at zero. So anybody able to proceed? Actually, kind of like basing on because if you Google there, so many so this one people that say using ones there because I'm using state and I'm using the time at the same time. Sometimes we are not using state. We just remove it, whatever you use, and then we save the function.
And then you
We can model
and then you do the same and
like the programming.
and then you do fairly rapid. And then you do fairly rapid.
Check out the evolution stage.
Yeah, you have one for something
And
and one for the big. Oh, yeah, it'd be very. If it goes out, and if you could just do this. Yes. I've never had to do CSCI.
But then sometimes it doesn't, right?
I bought a gun too. Kind of banged up. And a couple weeks later, I see like his little icon pops up on my message, my first time back, I can pitch.
So,
Like, you knew where that's at.
if you search it on the function, so actually, we say like I have this kind of.
Oh, don't put it in black.
The value, the first one is the value, second is the- so, second is
Yeah, but also.
So I usually when I do all like that, I find out what it is. What I said, I would say. Like the last week, the
I don't need that.
so when we kick on it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be.
So,
Yeah, yeah, like, so like when we, so we will now. Or I will do so I do some calculation. So not really. That's why it's much better. And
The guitar, it's just like, I'm one of them.
it's a, so we are not using that.
Very slow, like to make money, stack it, set up.
Oh.
Unfortunately, so.
Yeah.
It's the only time, it's like a one.
Plus if you have to let's say go home, still show. We can't understand how
I did it for myself, 4 days.
really using nice. Yeah, we also use the big so you can using that one.
I found.
You can use it. Yeah, sometimes we have to, okay, this one I use it for mistakes. Yeah, like, yeah, so always. Yeah, yeah.
And then on
Like in 1995. It's not one of their.
Well, one of this is, we have not modified the mission, but we,
So you can, so like, yeah. And then we affect it, and we go through it. Yeah. Like we're using random.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
But that's all, check things, it's like, how,
I still think it's. Really try.
so it's like.
For some reason, if I'm looking at something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can modify. So that. Yes. Yeah. The one who is using sector.
It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but it's also video like one like. That's what we know. Yeah.
So.
The on assignment, I will also say it's like we have for, so actually, so I was just expecting you to get the form.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, right here, and then I'm giving you for living. So this is roughly like.
Okay, so.
If there's traffic, we are not using. If there's no traffic, so that would be up to really hard time.
Gotta do the, yeah, like, so there's gonna be a trust. Okay, so then. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, more equal form. He is your foundation.
Okay, so like, got it.
Okay, so, if you are supposed to be.
Okay.
And then, where I told you we have to save this and we can get you to school or like, yeah,
You should be yourself.
because I let you know, yeah, I tell you meeting or something else. It's impossible to find everything.
Yeah. So you kind of do a little bit of self-learning.
Yes, exactly. Okay, if I want to add, okay. This is why I give you a. For that, I didn't give you first. So I give you a.
I mean, it's not, you don't have any.
Yeah.
And then always, remember?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
And also, actually, if you're click on it, this you also.
So it's not that bad of a.
Also, sometimes, when the word is comes down, something was not that. You can always stay.
Yeah.
And she puts that.
Yeah, so it's only that foundation, okay, this is one input. So I say recommend change the CSS. And also input more field. Yeah, on the other hand, but actually form then.
like, so when you like, people, this, so this one is kind of, you are going to make experience, like, we experience and then next class. You always want to make that, and you say, yeah, and you can see like, yeah, because I always like, needs, so I need to make the comment.
Yeah.
So I try to. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, right, so. I think, but I think.
We just double check.
I think it was-
Make sure I follow, we'll make sure I follow this.
Yeah.
No, wait, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So one more quick thing, I'm gonna, so you.
Yeah, yeah, yes, basically, yes, yeah. Yeah. Just let me know if there's any, you know.
Hopefully I can this weekend, but if I'm in one, I hope I get.
There's no seven, yeah, it's okay. So I will do it.
Yeah, all you know is.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah, that's, for the else, it's just that.
And that's it for today's class.
One quick thing before you start, I know you're busy and didn't get the chance to,
Yeah,
I think